Hello, good morning. I hope you're all doing well today. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the camera. I've got a real delay going on. I've tried to refresh and reboot. Hopefully you can see me okay, you can hear me okay, and the demo will go okay. If you see when my hands are down here, it's slow when it's there, but then when I bring the camera up, I think my computer's just working very hard to keep the speed. So I hope you're okay. I hope I'm streaming and on everything. I've got very lovely live for you today. I'm going to be making some necklaces. They're very statementy. They're very lovely. We've got some gorgeous connectors and lots of gemstones and spaces. So we have nuggets and chips, and I've got the most gorgeous nuggets. I don't often get to work with them, so I've had lots of fun with this. I'm going to take you over to the website because I feel that will be where you get to see what we've got. So I'm going to show you them now. So I'm going to take you over to totallybeads.co.uk if it will allow me to. So if you head over to the website and head into the video tutorial category, you will see today we are doing these lovely Luisa gemstone necklaces. They're very, very, very lovely. So we've got lots of options for you today. They do vary in price because obviously we've got genuine gemstones and lots of them. You're going to be able to make a full necklace, but you're going to have lots left over. So you could make yourself a little bracelet. You could make a pair of earrings. I don't mean to rustle in my bag, but I have got a little pre-made sample, so I can show you how you can attach that onto a bracelet if you wanted to. So there is 10% off all of your kits at the moment. We've got an amethyst, a pre-night, a smoky quartz and a tiger's eye, and I'm going to work with the pre-night today because it's absolutely beautiful. So if I show you what's in your kit, this is your amethyst version. It's £20 and 69 pence, so it's had a discount on there already. In your kit you're going to be able to make one lovely long line necklace. There will be bits left over, so by all means you could rearrange these how you want to and make some little extras if you fancy. So you're going to get your gemstone chips, your gemstone nuggets. I'm also using these lovely kind of twisted, it looks like a twisted rope alloy ring. We've got some silver spaces, which are like little kind of flowers or snowflakes, your eyepins, jump rings and your lobster clasp as well. If you want to see exactly what I'm using in the kit, then you can scroll down. You can see we've got these lovely chunky amethyst nuggets. Again, they slightly vary in size. These are 12 to 16 millimeter. I'm using those antique silver metal connector rings, which are 20 millimeter. You've got your dark chips in amethyst, which are beautiful. I'm using a large jump ring in this kit today, so I'm using rhodium plated, so that's going to match your antique silver flower spacers and your metal rings, and the spacers are 8 millimeter in size. So your jump rings, your spacers and those lovely alloy rings will stay the same in every single kit. They're all on that kind of rhodium antique silver finish today, but I'm just changing up the gemstones. So this is the amethyst one here. We also have the pre-night, which is absolutely beautiful. Can't wait to show you this down on the mat. It's really, really gorgeous. I don't think the colour of this is doing any justice. It's got this most beautiful kind of lime green colour to it, but you've got all these little inclusions in there as well. Almost like if you get like a root tile and you've got those like little kind of splintered looking inclusions in them. There's some of those in there as well. So these are the pre-night for you. And you can see what a great discount you're getting as well if you look at the price of just the gemstone nuggets. And then bear in mind we're having all of those extras in. This one's the smoky quartz, very sophisticated little number. It's really gorgeous. So you can see there, adding the chips with the nuggets and all those findings for you. And this one is a brilliant price at £17 and 9 pence. And then we have the tiger's eye as well. The tiger eye is absolutely beautiful. I mean, just look at the colours on those. I'm not doing any fancy editing when I take my photograph. If I can get it in natural light, I will do. If not, I just got like a big light on. And you can just see the absolute gorgeous sheen here in those tiger's eye. That one is particularly lovely as well. Of course, if you wanted to multi-buy, you could mix them if you fancy. I think they'd all look beautiful together, really. But you're going to get lots left over in your kit as well, so you'll be able to make those extra bits and pieces. So hopefully, if the that was working, hopefully. If it is all working, I'm going to say hello to you in the comments. It's got such a delay on it. I'm hoping this works. I'm guessing it's just my computer. I will pop this up so you can see how lovely they are. My hand is in, but you can't see it. Oh, it's going to be one of those, isn't it? Is there a delay on all of this? I'm sure there is. Maybe it'll just have a little moment and it'll catch itself up. So let me have a good morning to you all. Hello to Anastasia. Good morning to Judith, who says she loves today's design. Carol says it's not showing on Facebook. Well, I've got lots of people on Facebook and it says I'm streaming when I've checked the channel. So it may have just been taking a little while to find you, Carol. Good morning to Kath. Good morning to Camille. Yeah, I know. Good morning to Elaine. Good morning to Heather. Good morning to Joanne. She says, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I really like the look of this necklace. Thanks, Joanne. I had a very busy weekend. I had a nice weekend. Very, very busy. Plans didn't go as expected, but we made the most of it. Heather saying she's loving pre-night. Me too. Good morning to Jackie. How are you? Good morning to Jan. Jan's also saying she's loving these, especially the pre-night. Camille's loving the tiger's eye. And Kath says she can see me okay. As I say, this little camera at the bottom here isn't got such a delay as this one here. But I'm hoping it's getting a little bit better. We'll just take it slow. So as you can see, I've got, let me move them out the way and I will show you them one by one, if the camera wants to. We have these beautiful amethyst. They are gorgeous. They are dark purple. They are so pretty. Hello to Alison watching all the way in Cape Town. Just look at them. So we're using the chips, we're using these little snowflake spacers or flower spacers. We've got these big, beautiful rings in there as well, which are lovely and flat. They sit really nicely, but they're large. They are statement. Everything about this is just gorgeous. I think so anyway. So this one is your amethyst. It's quite dark in the room today. I haven't got my light working above me, but just when you see the light coming through these, they're just absolutely beautiful. So that is the amethyst, which I know is always very, very popular. The tiger's eye, though, I don't have to cherry pick out any one of these. Look at the sheen. So a tiger's eye has like it's just buoyancy with it, which is how the light kind of reflects. It gives it like a cat's eye look. And they're just beautiful. You've got those gorgeous golds and warm brown tones. And the chips are gorgeous too. And you can change these up to how it suits you. So I've worked out in your kit, and obviously you're getting loads more anyway, but on most of them, so if you can see, say the amethyst one here, I've used 3 chips on some of the little connectors, whereas on some of the others I've just put 2, and you can kind of work out size wise. I want them to be round about the same size, so if I place the tiger's eye here next to the amethyst, but some of the chips are big and chunky and some of them are much smaller, so you can just go by eye to see, how many you think you need. This is your smoky quartz, and it's beautiful. It's kind of like, it's not quite black, it's not quite grey, it's not quite brown. There's something smoky in between. If I hold it up to the light, you should be able to see, I mean, this goes lovely with my nails today. Good morning, Elaine. Oh, that's good. She says there doesn't seem to be a delay my end on Facebook. Or maybe it's just my camera then. Right now, I'm frozen, but we'll see. So that one is the smoky quartz. And then we have the preline, which is just gorgeous. I never have a favourite gemstone. It changes all the time. But I want to show you how gorgeous this is. You've got this beautiful lime looking colour, and then some of these kind of darker greens with the inclusions. You can see we have like little kind of, they look like splinters, I suppose. So you can see that these are natural and they are absolutely gorgeous. Oh, thanks, Joanne. Just as I've just pulled that one off the strand. Oh, come on, please don't delay. Look at that. I mean, these nuggets, these ones have a facet to them. So can you see the way they've been cut? Just the most astonishing colour. Really, really gorgeous. And then if I show you my strand of chips, again, you're getting those gorgeous inclusions in there. Absolutely beautiful. So, really straightforward make. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make my pins. So I'm going to take out my little bag of goodies and I'll show you what we're using. I'll just spill them all on the table. So I've got my lobster clasp, which I'm going to be using right at the back. Nice size, it's 12 millimeters. You can, if you want to, swap a different clasp. I'm using a large jump ring today. I'm using an 8x1, that's your outer diameter. So it's 1 millimeter or 18 gauge in thickness, nice and sturdy, nice and strong. Just going to be using those to connect some of my connectors together onto those lovely large rings. I'll just pop them over there. However, you can, if you want to, just connect them directly. So what I do at the front of the necklace is I just connect those loops onto each other. And then in the body of the necklace around the side, I'm going to start adding on the jump rings. What you do want to do though is make sure that you're closing your loops properly to get that effect. I'm going to use these lovely little silver antique metal silver. They're like little flowers. They look like little cogs to me. Because they're antique silver, they've got that kind of patina effect on them. We spoke a little bit about that last week on a live about, you know, darkening the colour of your metals, whether it be copper or your kind of silver coloured base metal components, and how that just adds depth and beauty to it. And my hand's frozen, they look frozen. And then I'm just going to be using the Eyepins. So the Eyepins have got that little loop already on one end, and I'm just going to be making them into double connectors by adding. So it's not frozen on my phone, but it's frozen on my screen. Wondering if I just look through my phone camera. So yeah, double loop connectors is what we're going to be using with them all. So in total, I'm going to want to make 11 pins for this design up. If you've got any left over, you could even do this, like I've done this one with a little bit of wire and I've just done wrapped loops on the end. So you could curve that slightly if you wanted to, and you could just make, you know, a little bracelet focal feature. You could make little earrings with some of your chips or your nuggets that you might have left over. They would look really, really beautiful. So apart from that, you're also going to need these, which will come in your kit. And you can see they're lovely big chunky size. Again, they've got that patinaed effect on. So it's going to complement your metals and the rhodium findings in the kit really, really nicely. They'll go perfectly together. And it's a really straightforward make. I'm just going to make connectors and turn some loops. So I'm going to start by taking one of my eye pins and I'm going to take out a couple of chips. So you can cherry pick them if you want to. I'm just going to cut a little bit of this off. In terms of tools, you can use a looper tool if you want to. I'm just going to turn mine by hand, so I'm going to use some round nose pliers, some wire cutters, and then I need 2 pairs of chain nose pliers just to open and close my jump rings and connect them on. So I'm going to take my chips and I'll just pour a couple out for now. So you can see they vary in colour, they vary in size, they vary in shape. I'm just going to add 2 onto my eye pin. So they're going to go towards that loop. Again, I'm not too concerned on which way they're facing or sitting. I'm then going to take one of my little flowers, my little spacer bead, and that is going to sit either side of my gorgeous prehnite. So I'm going to take out one of my gemstone nuggets and I'm going to slide that on next. Then I'm going to take another little flower spacer and then some more chips. So I'm putting 2 on these because they're quite large chips. My amethyst chips are a little bit smaller. Some of the smoky quartz are, some of the tiger's eye are. They really do vary. So I think for this one, could add 3 onto each side if I want, but I think that will be more than enough. Now what I'm going to do to turn my pin is I'm going to take 1 pair of my chain nose pliers. I'm going to look at which direction that loop's sitting in. I might want to give it a little twist at the end, but I want them to kind of sit in the same direction. So I'm going to have that loop just facing up towards me, and I'm going to come in with my chain nose pliers and I'm going to push down just to make sure my chips are sitting close. As these rotate, obviously the shape of them will mean they move a little bit. I want them all fairly bunched up close together, and I'm just going to give my pin a bend at a 90-degree angle just close to that last chip. And I'm going to come in with my cutters if it needs to. If I'm using larger gemstone chips or I'm using 3, I might only have about 1 centimetre left there. If I've got a little bit of excess over 1 centimetre, I'm just going to trim off a tiny bit, and then I'm going to keep it down with my thumb, that little chip, so it doesn't fall away, and move up that bend in the pin. And then with my round nose pliers, I'm just going to take the end of the pin, making sure it's nice and flush so it's not sticking out the other end, so we can turn all of that pin. I'm going to give it a little flick up and reposition my wrist, little rotations all the way around just to turn that pin on the other side. You can knock it and straighten it up if you want to. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want it so that loop's closed. And then that is my first connector, and I'm going to make 11 of those. So I'll make myself a little pile, and then all we need to do is just assemble them. So again, I'm going to take a couple of chips. What you might want to do is you might want to think, well, those 2 are roughly the same size. Those 2 are roughly the same size. So I'll put 1 of these on. And 1 of those ones on, just to keep it quite balanced in its look. I'm going to add on my little snowflake. Well, they're described as flowers. I suppose they are more floral. I'm going to take 1 of my nuggets, and again, you can see there's a real difference in size in some of the nuggets as well. So if I've got a slightly smaller one, I might think, actually, this time I am going to add an extra little chip on. Let's see if I can get some smaller ones. I'll go for that one. And then I'll just gauge how it fits on the pin. If I feel like I'm not going to have enough space on my pin, and these are 50mm pins, so they're quite a decent size, but I might find 2 works, I might find 3 works on each side. So just finding a drill hole in my gemstone. Also, the way the drill hole is, obviously, if it's gone like that, it's going to take up a little bit more space than if it's going right through the middle and it's sitting like that. I think I am going to take that one off, and I'm just going to put 2 on. So just have a little play about with your design. The gorgeous thing about the gemstones is, gives that kind of natural, organic look. And of course, there's no right or wrong way of doing this. This is your make, so you can have it as full as you like. I think that looks pretty good. So again, I'm just going to bend my pin nice and close. Oh. So check my loop is in that direction, just because I kind of want them facing the same way, those loops. If they're not, so if I end up with one in one direction and one sitting in another direction, I can just put my pliers on the end and give it a little twist. So I'll show you how to do that. I put my hand over when I'm cutting, just so that tiny bit of pin doesn't fire away. And then I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers. I only want a small loop, so I'm going to keep it fairly towards the end. Give it a little twist all the way round. And we want to make sure that it's closed. So if they're not fully sitting in the same direction, what you can do is just take your pliers and give your pin a little twist, just so they're facing in the right direction. Okay, so Joanne says there's no freeze on Facebook, just usually a delay between Facebook and YouTube. It all seems normal. That's really good. That's a relief. Good morning, Yolanda. How are you? Not spoke to you for a little while. So I'm just going to keep going with that. How many have I got so far? 1, 2. I did a couple earlier. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I want 11 for this design. Look at them. They remind me of sweeties, like in little foil wraps, and they sound lovely. Precious Solids is saying chrome beryl, chrysoberyl, alexandrite. Yeah, these aren't alexandrite. Alexandrite's very expensive. They do change colour, alexandrite. These are beautiful prehnite. And we sell them all on the Totally Beads website. So if anybody wants to get them, they can get their hands on them there for an absolutely amazing price today. So I'm just going to add on a couple of my gemstone chips, a little floral spacer, my next gorgeous nugget, another little spacer, and 2 of my chips. I'm going to bend my pin. So the reason why I'm bending my pin is just to turn that loop. So when the loop's turned, it will fit neatly right in the centre. I'm only trimming off because I want my loop to be around about the same size. If you want to make it exactly the same size as the existing loop, just pop it in the loop onto your round nose pliers, and you can see if I turn here, that's going to give me round about the same size. I tend to just use what I feel is comfortable with the pin. They don't have to be absolutely perfectly the same. Give it a little flick up, reposition my hand, and twist all the way to make that loop on the other side. So it's a nice little make. It's not overly complicated. You can, if you want to, use your looper tool for this as well. Just be cautious that you don't chip your gemstones when you're popping them into your looper tool. There you go, Heather. She said, can I use a looping tool for these? Yeah, you absolutely can. You just need to be, as I say, a little bit cautious for the length of pin that you've got left to put through the looper tool. Usually you have to put the pin in enough so that it cuts it off on the opposite side. So you can try it if you want to, but they don't take very long to do by hand with your round nose pliers. And I do tend to find that doing them by hand just ensures that my loop is fully turned. Often I find when I use my looper tool, I have to like readjust afterwards anyway, just to straighten it up. And if you wanted to not use pins and you just wanted to use wire, I would say a 0.6 would be a good gauge of wire, and I would do wrap loops with them, and that's going to make sure that everything is really, really sturdy, and no matter how hard you pull, it's not going to come off because you've got the wrap loops with there. But I just wanted to make this nice and quick, really, and I do like the pins on Totally Beads. I think they're nice and sturdy and strong, and yet soft and malleable enough to turn loops with. So I'm just checking that chip because that drill hole is quite close to the end. So I think I'm going to just swap that one out. Whereas this one's much more in the centre. And I feel that's just going to make sure it's a little bit more sturdy. I'm then going to select my gemstone nugget, add on my other spacer. Hi Rachel, how you doing? Heather says, been having hand issues, so I've been trying my looper. You should be able to. I say it just depends how much of the pin that you're using, Heather. I'm always a bit cautious when I've only got a little bit to kind of, once I've added all my gemstones on. Where's the drill hole? There it is. Look how beautiful they are. So you can see just with how they're positioned, by the time I bend that one, that's going to leave me with about a centimetre anyway. So I'm not going to need to trim off any, I don't think, on that. So giving a little turn, placing it down into my round nose pliers, making sure it's nice and flush, a little flick up, and then rotations all the way around to turn that loop. And you can check that your loops are facing in the same direction. So I want 11 of those in total. And now what you can do is you can pick out which is your favourite shape, your favourite one. We can work with those in the centre. They're all gorgeous. I don't really think it matters. I'm going to just pick those through. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect these directly onto each other. So where I've turned that loop this way, it's important that we make sure our loops are fully turned. I'm going to give it a little flick up and then slide it directly onto the next connector and then close that down. And then again on the other side, I'm going to give it a little flick up and then slide that on through and close that over. And now when I make the sides of my necklace, I'm going to use 3 of these lovely rings to connect with them. So I'm just going to alternate now, attaching these onto those and then having these sit in the middle. And then I'm going to connect on, I think I connect 2 at the back. That would make sense with my sides, wouldn't it? Let me find this one here. So then I'm just going to connect those on with the jump rings at the back as well. Camille says stacking them like that, string through the loops, will make a lovely thick bracelet. Ooh, Camille. Yeah, they would. Oh, I maybe put like a little spacer or something in between, or maybe some more chips in between. In fact, we did a memory wire bracelet a little while, well, quite a long while back now, and that was with, I don't think we put nuggets in that, but we definitely used gemstone chips, and we used kind of little connectors to make bars, didn't we? Yeah. See, this is why I love sharing ideas with you, because we all have different take on something, and that's a stroke of genius, that, Camille. So I'm just going to open up my jump ring, and I'm going to slide that through one of my connectors, 3 linked together, and into the loop. And then just close that over. If you haven't got 2 pairs of chain nose, if you've got a pair of flat nose, which I should have somewhere, but I don't know where I've put them, then you can always use them as well, as long as it's flat on the inside of your tool, not to mark anything. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm going to take one of my jump rings. I'm going to give it a little twist open towards me. Lots of people struggling with their hands. You've got to look after them, especially when you're making a lot. It's a hazard of the job. Making sure those jump rings are fully closed and lined up. And then I'm just connecting them together. So once I put the ring on, I'm going to add another prehnite connector or gemstone connector, whichever one you're using. And you can work off one side or you can start on the next. Really straightforward make. We're going to give you a really gorgeous, almost goddess-like look. If your jump rings click together, then they're fully closed. So by having those 3 in the middle, I've created that kind of centre. Again, you can rearrange these however you want. This becomes quite a long line necklace. It sits quite lengthy, and I think that's a really nice look with it. So opening up the jump ring by giving it a little twist towards me, sliding through one hole, around the connector, and then back to close. And again on the other side, opening up, sliding on through. So I'm going to be using 6 of these ring connectors in total, and I'm going to have 3 on one side and 3 on the other. And if you were using wire and you were doing wrap loops, you could wrap through the little hole within the flower as well. I'm just catching in the ring inside the rope. I'm just catching around, but with certain, maybe a thinner gauge jump ring, you'd be able to get that through the actual kind of rope twist effect. But I wanted to make sure that I was using a 1mm or 18 gauge jump ring, just so it's nice and sturdy. And then I'm going to finish off with another 2. One on one side and one on the other. Make sure that ring is closed, give it a little wiggle if need be, just to get it fully aligned. And then I'm just going to attach these last 2, if I can pull it down a little bit just to get it in fully in. These 2 are going to connect together towards the clasp at the back. And I'm going to attach these ones with the jump rings. You don't have to if you want to just connect them onto each other like we did in the middle. Yeah, Heather, that's beautiful. She's asking, can you make this double strand? I think you might need to multi-buy on your kits, because I don't know, you will have lots left over, but I don't think it would be enough for 2 full necklaces. Although if you are going to double strand, you'll probably want to make one slightly smaller to sit inside. What you could do though is you could, if I just open this one up, you open one of these links just to show you. You could connect, say, a little section in between, so you could have, you know, something going like that across the bottom. Can you see that? Could attach those in the middle, and you could play around with like kind of your shape and positioning, so you wouldn't have to do the full thing as a double. You could maybe connect just some into those bottom rings there by attaching that one there and that one there maybe. That'd be really lovely. I'd love to see what you do with these. I really would. So all I need to do now is attach this one. And just make sure, you know, as you're attaching them on, just double check, are my loops fully closed when I attach that on? We wouldn't want them to come undone. And then all I need to do now is just take my jump ring and attach that onto a loop at the back and add on my lobster clasp. And then onto the other side for something for my clasp to hook into. And my necklace is done. I will put it on so you could see. Yeah, Jan, she's saying you could do a lariat necklace. I mean, the world's your oyster, isn't it, when you've got nuggets and chips? So it sits, I think, quite long. Of course, it will vary depending on how much of the pin you want to use on those connectors. I think this grey jumper is just washing out the colour of this. It doesn't look as beautiful as it actually is around my neck. So this is the pre-night one. There's 4 lovely colours for you to choose from today. I will show you the website again, so if it works. What's that one doing? Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. I can invite guests, but I can't share. So if you head over to the Totally Beads website, it is totallybeads.co.uk. Let me see if I can bring this up. There we go. There it is. totallybeads.co.uk. This is the Luisa Gemstone necklace. We've got an amethyst for you at £20.69. We've got the pre-night, which is the one that I've just made and I'm now wearing, which is £25.19. The smoky quartz is £17.09. And the tiger eye is £18.89. They've all had 10% knocked off them. I mean, that pre-night should have been £28. You're going to get plenty in your kit, enough to make one lovely long statement necklace. But of course, if you fancied, you could change up that design. You could use some of your leftover bits and you could make, I think they'd make really, really nice earrings. I'd quite like actually to, I just feel like I want to dismantle one just so I can have a little play around with it really. Let me, so I think, let me pop this back up. I mean, this is how quick and easy, if you want to rechange your design, you can, open things up, and you can, should probably just opened up the jump ring there, shouldn't I? Okay, I will do. I think these rings, I've got some rings left in my kit. I think these rings would make really nice statement earrings as well. So if you wanted to, you can always buy any extra little components. So if you go at the description where I show you what's in each kit, you can just add in an extra little bag of these if you wanted. What you could do is you could take some of your chips. I don't think a nugget's going to be big enough to fit in, but what would be beautiful, and now I want to do these on a different live, I could take a little piece of wire and I could take a couple of my chips and I could position those inside and then wrap loop through the loop on the connector, little ball pin maybe, just to dangle off the end, and a little ear wire. They would look absolutely gorgeous. I did want to do earrings with those, but I think I could save it for another live, couldn't I? You could as well, if you wanted, just have your connectors and you could string them together and make a nice, simple, straightforward little bracelet. They'd look very beautiful too. Or as Heather said about, making a double linked necklace, or maybe, as I think it was Joanne who said, doing like a lariat style with them. I mean, it was Jan, wasn't it? You could do anything you fancied with them, really. I think when you've just got absolutely gorgeous gemstones and components, the possibilities to be creative are endless. Jeremy says the light green is gorgeous. It's pre-night, Jeremy. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Rachel's going to watch back. Jan's loving the pre-night as well. Heather's saying the connectors are lovely. Lovely tutorial. Thank you so much. Jan says lovely design. Now to decide which one I want. Something for me. Yeah, treat yourself. Thank you, Just Me. That's really, really, really kind of you. And Joanne saying, what a lovely idea is that with the earring? Gonna make them. I'll put them on my plan for things to pop together. My never-ending plan. Honestly, I've put design ideas together. I'm not even halfway through the things that I had in my head and the things that I want to use. And I'm literally like pages and pages in, because I put them in a little document so I can kind of have a vision when I go. Yeah, I've got loads to do still. So I'm going to be back on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I'm going to be making necklaces and bracelet sets with you. We're using little crystals, not gemstones, just gorgeous coloured crystals. I'm going to kind of make like an ombre type effect with them. So we're going to be playing with colour and tone and lovely little spaces as well. Yolanda says, have a blessed day. She's going to go start working now. Anastasia says, this is gorgeous. I've got some chips I've just found them the other day. Guess I'll bite the bullet and purchase what's in my basket. Have fun, Anastasia. Have fun shopping. If you can come and be with me on Wednesday, then we'll make those bracelets and necklaces together. It's nice to have a little matching set. I hope you all have a wonderful start to the week. Thanks for being with me as always today, and I look forward to seeing you